Ole Miss fans need a hotel for the game weekend? Many OTAs keep all the commissions, but at Fan Plans, you still get your loyalty points, receive direct confirmation from the hotel, and you support Rebel Grove. Visit fanplans.com/Rebel Grove today.
Welcome into another edition of the Troy Brown Show, presented by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. I'm Neil McCready. That is Ole Miss linebacker Troy Brown. Rebels had a disappointing Saturday, the way it ended against a really talented Alabama team. Great football game. I always talk about my guy, my fictional guy sitting at home in Dubuque, Iowa, just flipping channels. Fourth quarter of Ole Miss, Alabama. He's calling his wife in going, honey, watch this. It was a hell of a football game. Didn't work out the way that Troy and the Rebels wanted it to. Alabama wins 30-24. Ole Miss now turns its attention to Arkansas. The Rebels and the Razorbacks play 6:30 on Saturday night in what should be pretty frigid Fayetteville, Arkansas. 6:30 SEC Network for that game between the Rebels and the Razorbacks. Before we get to Troy and all of those topics, I want to remind you that we're brought to you each and every week by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Different names, same great products and services. You saw it last week. We've been telling you for weeks it was going to happen. It's almost like I've lived down here all my life. It was hot. It's like 80 degrees on Tuesday. Yet if you pulled up the weather app, you're like, hey, it's going to get into the 30s, maybe the 20s. So if you haven't done it by now you already know it got cold. You turned that heater on. If you had a problem, and I know some of you did because some of you texted me, get in touch with the people at Comer. Get in touch with the people at Southern. They'll come out. They'll get it all fixed up, ready to go. It's going to be another cold weekend. As we get into the holiday season, you want to make sure that your heater is operating where it keeps you warm, but also, just as importantly, where it's safe. So Comer, 662-801-1777. That's in Oxford, Tupelo, that area. If you live in the Memphis area, Hernando, DeSoto County, that area, get in touch with the people at Southern. 662-429-4429. Excellent customer service. They'll take great care of you. They'll be out, and they'll make sure that your heating system is ready to go, keeping you safe and warm as the cold weather arrives. Troy, how are you?
I've been better, but definitely doing good. Came out the week very healthy, so I'm looking forward to this week.
So let's talk a little bit about Alabama. We'll spin forward after that. Obviously, the thing that strikes me about that game is it's just such a close game. It comes down to a handful of plays. They don't just pass out the Heisman Trophy. You got to win it. And that cat won one, and he is a really gifted player. And I thought he made a couple of huge plays on third down, on third and goals, resulted in touchdown passes that I thought they were just obviously, right? They're touchdowns. But I just thought they were monumental plays because most quarterbacks don't make those plays. Those become field goals. And instead of getting 14 points, they get 6 points, assuming that, Reichert's a really good kicker. He probably makes both those kicks. So it's, 6 points, and do the math. You guys lost by 6. That's 8 points. Carry the 2. You know what I mean? It's right there. So, I thought he was just, you saw how special he is. How difficult was he to play against? Because you can't rattle him.
Like I said before, he really treats the game like he's a point guard just on the football field. The way he moves, when he escapes the pocket, he's not thinking normally, like how everybody may escape to run escape to necessarily throw, but he escapes to get into open space to where if you are coming at him, he still has, the vision to look you off, but also shake you because you're in his vision at the same time. So, he's done things with the ball that I haven't really seen done, and that's why I call him the point guard of football, is because point guards usually do something with the ball that you normally don't see another position do, right? So it was cool to see, and it was cool to compete against.
He people talk about his lack of size sometimes, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. He just wins, and he makes plays. He reminds me of. I'm going to show you my age here. He reminds me when I was a kid. I used to love Joe Montana, and he reminds me of Joe Montana a little bit. His ability to move with his feet. He's always looking downfield. and then to be able to kind of throw off platform and hit a receiver on the run, and just, special players can do that. And Montana, obviously from a different era, was a special player, and I think Bryce Young's going to play in the league a long time.
Definitely.
How difficult of a game was that to sort of absorb from a team standpoint? From you guys had put yourself in position to be in the BCS mix, the playoff mix. Even with LSU winning earlier in the day, you guys still had a chance to keep it alive and keep pressing things. When you lose a game like that, obviously all of that goes out the window. You realize how close you were to it. How hard is that just to accept in that moment?
It's just like things you can't keep looking back, looking back on, I guess. My grandpa always used to tell me, like, he says, yesterday is a mystery. He said, yesterday is a history. Tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a present. That's why they call it the future. Like, it's stuff like that. That's just you gotta think like that, I guess. It's not something I really think about all the time, but when situations like this come about and I'm down on myself and kind of in a mood slump, I have to think of stuff like that just to get me, like the next step is it may be something great. It's a mystery. Well, yesterday is history, so you got to forget about it. It's already in the books. Can't do nothing about it.
Yeah, I appreciate you being as open about the mood and that kind of thing as you have been, because I think it's great insight for the fans into you guys are people. You're not robots. And B, there's more to the game than running and jumping and stuff. I mean, obviously it helps to be super athletic and it helps to be big and strong. I mean, that's better than not being big and strong, but there's more to it than that. And you've got sometimes to overcome mental things. And for you this year, you started great and then you had the injury. And ever since the injury, I don't think you felt 1,000,000%. And so you're trying to work through that. And when you're not 100% healthy, it's hard to play at your optimal level. And I think you've pushed through it and done really well, but I know you hold yourself to a really high standard. And when you feel like you don't meet that standard, you get kind of down on yourself and you kind of beat yourself up, and it becomes this kind of rolling ball of butcher knives a little bit, where you're beating yourself up to death. I mean, I know you're kind of fighting that a little bit. How hard is that mental part of it for you? Because this is a big year for you. You talked about at the beginning of the year, right? You wanted to put an SEC season on film. You had the MAC seasons. You wanted to put an SEC season on film, and that meant, hey, you're playing these elite players every week in an SEC game, and they're dialed in. As no offense to Central Michigan whatsoever, but when LSU plays Ole Miss, there's a different level of intensity than when LSU plays Central Michigan.
Exactly.
It just is what it is. And so you're getting everybody's best effort. You're playing Will Levis one week, then Jaden Daniels another week, and then Bryce Young. And, this week it might be KJ Jefferson or whatever, different challenges or whatever. But these are all highly recruited, highly decorated football players. And, you're playing against those guys, and it's harder to do when you're not healthy.
Yeah. I feel like the hardest part is to shake the thought of, like, once you go into the game, you're thinking about the injury. That's the hard part, to go out there and just let loose and not think about it, because sometimes you feel like you could move in a way to where you're going to hurt it some more, or you're going to re-injure it, or it just could get worse. So that playing with that thought in your head is just, that's the bad part of having an injury to me. When I'm healthy, when I'm free, I'm out there letting loose, having fun. My body just flies all over the place. There's no telling which way I might land here and there. But like now you can see me, try tighten up in spaces and stuff like that. And that's the part that I'm most critical of myself about, because I don't want to put stuff like that out there on tape. But, it is what it is. I'm going out there to try to help my team win. And, that's my best at that moment. It's not the best I could be in general, but at that moment, I'm giving my best. So
yeah, I told you this before we started. A lot of guys in your situation would have shut it down by now. They would have said, "Hey, I'm hurt. I need to get well. I got combine. I got whatever coming up. I need to get well. I got pro day in X months." You haven't done that. I mean, frankly, I think it speaks volumes about you as a person because you've only been in this program. I don't know what's it been now, 10 months, 11 months. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, you didn't have 5 years of blood, sweat, tears in this program. You did in Central Michigan, but you didn't here. And for you to commit yourself to your teammates the way that you have, I think it speaks volumes of you as a human being personally. And then from a football standpoint, I mean, I think a future employer looks at it and goes, he could have been selfish and shut it down, and he didn't. He grinded as long as he could. I mean, I don't know. I'm not just saying that to make you feel good or whatever. I'm just being honest. I mean, there's a lot of guys around the country that you saw it last week in some games. Like, I won't name names, but there were some games that I watched where guys didn't play, made the trip, didn't play, and I get it. You got to do what you got to do. But I mean, there is a difference between, hey, I'm going to play with my team and I'm not going to play with my team. I'm going to make a decision for me. And you've made decisions for your team. So, you should be commended for that. All right, let's look ahead a little bit. You guys, the season doesn't end. You go to Fayetteville on Saturday. It's their senior day. I'm curious, you've been a part of some senior days at Central Michigan, not yours, but, older teammates of yours. When it's senior day, do you want to play harder for your teammates that are
definitely. Because I feel like everybody's had the experience of a senior day because like they played as a senior in high school. So once when you start off as a freshman and everything, you don't really understand the significance that they feel at that moment. You just know that everybody is around and the energy is up, and those guys are like, hey, this is my last time going out. This is how I want to be remembered. This is how. So looking up to those guys, you're like, okay, I want to send that guy out that way. But then when it comes up and it's your turn, you're like, man, yeah, this is the last one. Like, really the last one I'm going to be in this stadium. So I want it to be rememberable. I want it to be special. I want plays to be remembered. So I want it to be a happy ending, and the only way it can really be a happy ending if we come out with the dub. So that's more so what the energy is around.
So you're going to get a couple of those here soon. You get one on the road where you're going to get their best shot. That's a proud team that their season has not gone the way that they wanted it to go, obviously, but you're probably going to get their very best shot on Saturday. And then 5 days later, you're going to turn around and have yours at home against Mississippi State in a rivalry game. We'll start with the Arkansas game. KJ Jefferson did not play last week against LSU. They played Hornsby and is it Forbin, the third teamer who came in and actually made a pretty good throw against LSU. But I'm assuming, based on Sam Pittman's comments, the Arkansas coach, that you guys are probably going to get KJ Jefferson on Saturday. When you go up against a big guy like that, and he is a big human being, 6'3", 250, whatever it is, how much of a challenge is it to bring down quarterbacks like that are athletic and can make plays with their arms, but really depend on their feet?
I mean, it's obviously a very huge challenge to bring somebody that big, that powerful down. But no matter who it is, no matter who they are, no matter how much they may say they like contact, you keep hitting somebody 30, maybe. I'm not going to even say 30. I want to say 15. A quarterback, hit them 10 to 15 times, stick them in place, especially with him and how they like to get him the ball and run him the ball. I mean, yeah, he can get 5 to 6 yards here and there, but as long as you get tattooed every play, I'm talking about sticking them every play, and plus it's going to be cold, so you're not going to want those stiff pads hitting you every single time. So we'll see how tough he is when we get out there.
And then Sanders, the running back who's had a big time season, he and Quinshawn, frankly, have just kind of dominated the rushing category this year in the SEC. When you look at him on film, what's the challenge with Rocket Sanders?
He's also a big guy. see on film, he's hard to get down. He's not stiff at all. But they like to give him the ball. They love to feed him the ball. We're gonna try to take advantage of that. And catch them slipping here and there. It is what it is. We know they're gonna feed him the ball, and we know that we got to stop it. So there's no secret of what's going to happen.
You mentioned the cold is going to be, if the weather prediction holds up, it's going to be really cold, like 20 degrees, 21 degrees. You're used to that. You've played in some of that stuff in the MAC, but how different is it playing a football game in 20-degree weather as opposed to 80-degree weather?
It's the mindset. Offenses like to think that, you can run over a team when it's real cold, but I don't really know. I don't think offenses really like to run when it's cold. I really don't think they like to be out there when it's cold. That's just how I feel as a defensive player against offensive players.
You're saying offensive guys are soft? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's a couple of them that's real beasts out there. Like, it's a couple running backs that's gonna get in the cold and ain't no step being lost. They still shaky and they still gonna lower their boom. So, it is. We got to see who they is. You know what I mean?
Playing 2 games in 5 days, especially this late in the season, and in your case when you're playing hurt, how physical of a challenge is, and you've done some of this in the MAC, it's probably prepared you a little bit for what's coming. The Tuesday games, the Wednesday games, stuff like that. You're going to turn around, you're going to play a Saturday night game. Realistically, you guys are 3-4 in the morning getting back to Oxford on Sunday. A day that would normally be kind of a day off won't be, because you got to get ready for state on Thanksgiving night. How much of a physical challenge is it, and a mental challenge too, going from Arkansas is going to run this power attack at you kind of, and Mississippi State's going to do air raid. You're two completely different styles that you'll see from Arkansas and Mississippi State with not much time in between. And then there's the physical toll of it.
First, mentally, we just got to take it one game at a time. Our eyes are focused on Arkansas right now. Mississippi they're close behind, but we gotta get over this hump before we can get to that one. But I feel like the physical part for me, it's getting better, especially with the injuries and stuff, and me leaving the game and not re-entering the stuff, and because past games it will be a player here and there to where I'll come out the game because something will happen again. But the last couple games, I've been blessed to walk off. Okay, so. The shoulders have been getting stronger. I've been getting back in the weight room, putting a lot more weight on my body. Just getting stronger, getting healthier. Trying to build myself back up to gain shape and stuff to where I feel like I'm more confident. But I'm feeling good coming into these last 2 weeks. I'm not going to say it's the best I've felt all season, but post injury, definitely the best I've felt. And I feel like. It's going to be an exciting 2 weeks. So it just feels like MAC play to me.
Well, speaking of you getting better and MAC play, you're closing ground quickly. I had a disastrous week. I went 1-5. You went 3-3, so you made up 2 games. I think you've pulled to within 2 games now. You're within striking distance. So we've got 5 MAC games starting Tuesday. And we'll finish on Wednesday. You got 3 Wednesday games, including, I think, your old team's big rivalry game. We'll get to that in a minute. First, Bowling Green at Toledo, Troy. Bowling Green, a 15.5-point favorite on the road at Toledo. These are rivalries, right? Bowling Green's in Ohio. Toledo's in Ohio. Do they dislike each other? What's the – so you have an advantage here because you understand the psyche of these MAC teams. I don't. I just watch them play and stuff. But now the emotion of it all works in. And so I don't know what's like a big rivalry game where they're handing out like a big belt buckle or whatever at the end or what the deal is. And so I don't know where the emotion is. This is an advantage for you.
I'm going with Toledo. But I feel like, because it's kind of like the Michigan, the MAC trophy, where the 3 Michigan teams, we all compete against each other for the MAC trophy. So I feel like, and it's like 5 Ohio teams.
There's a bunch of them. Yeah, there was Bowling Green, Toledo, Ohio, Miami, and maybe somebody else. Kent, because Kent's in Ohio, right?
I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Kent State, they're in Ohio. Half the damn league's in Ohio.
Yeah, see? Yeah, I don't know what they compete for. I really don't.
All right, so you're going to go with Toledo and take the points. I think I'm 15 and a half is so many points. I'm with you. I'm going to take Toledo and the points. That's just Bowling Green's really good though, and Toledo's not. That's okay. All right, Ohio, the Bobcats. They head to Muncie, Indiana, to play Ball State. Ohio is a 3.5 point favorite on the road in Muncie.
I'm gonna go Ohio.
All right. Yeah, I am too. We're marching in lockstep at this point. All right, I'll go first on this one. So, Eastern Michigan, they head to Kent State. This is on Wednesday. Eastern Michigan is a 7-point underdog. I'm going to take Kent State and lay the points.
I'll take Eastern.
All right, Troy's going to go with Eastern. All right, we got Miami of Ohio. They're getting 1.5 at Northern Illinois. This again on Wednesday night. I'm taking the home team. I'm going with the Huskies here. I'll take them and lay the 1.5.
I'm going Miami.
All right. We got the big rivalry game. Western Michigan. They head to your old stomping grounds, Central Michigan. Western Michigan, an 11-point underdog at Central Michigan. Now, this is a big rivalry game, right? I mean, there's like no love lost. It's just kind of the hate bowl. Is that?
It just got to be that way. I don't care if my brother was over there. It just got to be that way.
All right, so you always hear people say in games like this you can throw the records out and all that stuff. Is that true, or does the best team usually end up winning anyway?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. Usually the best team wins, but I mean, there's been a couple instances where you play ball and stuff happens, you know. Well, I've seen, especially my true freshman year, a lot of crazy stuff happened that game.
Like what?
Like they went into they went into OT, and the game winning touchdown pass was like just like a heave float. Like he didn't even read it; he just threw it. And my man C. Will, he ended up going to the as a free agent to the Cardinals for a couple of years. He just ran under it, caught it for like 70 yards, took off.
Pretty happy locker room, huh?
And it was cold. I'm talking freezing cold. I hate those games.
All right, so you're going to go with Central Michigan, I know. Just for the sake of the argument and have a little fun, I will take. Is it the Broncos?
The Broncos.
The Broncos. All right, I'll go with them. All right, listen, we won't do a show next Sunday because Troy will have practice. They're not going to get back till late. They got Sunday is Tuesday next week. So we will get back together sometime in the 72 hours or so after the Egg Bowl, after Thanksgiving, and talk about the conclusion of the regular season and some of those things. So, Troy, best of luck in Fayetteville. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, and also good luck in the Egg Bowl as well. And we look forward to talking to you on the other side of the last two games of the Ole Miss regular season.
Sure.
All right, this show's been brought to you all season long by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Again, different names, same great products and services. In Oxford, Tupelo, get in touch with the people at Comer. In Memphis, DeSoto County, Hernando, South Haven, that area, get in touch with the people at Southern. They will take great care of you. For Troy Brown, I'm Neil McCready. That does it for this edition of the Troy Brown Show. Until next time, take care.